Hey everybody, it's Janelle from the Career Development Center. I understand you all are completing the Strengths Finder assessment for this graduate class. And I am going to quickly go through the debriefing that we would typically use if I was able to come into class. I'll give you a little bit of information about we as the Career Development Center and why we have purchased this for Kutztown. And then to debrief, and of course, being me not being there with you, I'll have to be a little bit more vague, but hopefully you as a class can then discuss your slides, your strengths a little bit better. So with that being said, I do want to flip over to maybe the why of why we brought this to Kutztown, listen to me, to Kutztown. With that being said, we, as the Career Development Center, about 5 or 6 years ago, when Kutztown was entering the FYS class into all student schedules, we were looking for an assessment that would assist them in making decisions and setting goals. We have the choice of major, maybe a change of major decision that those early students are going to have to make. And then with the older students, and that's including you as well, that would be more of job searching, going on to graduate school, maybe for you all going on to get your doctorate. But we wanted to give you all something that would allow you to make good decisions, make good choices for yourself using your strengths. So, what is Clifton Strengths, and why are we using it today? So, Clifton Strengths was brought here to Kutztown again about 5 or 6 years ago. My supervisor and I, Carrie, had to fly to Nebraska to be trained for it. And I want you to know that this assessment is not just some Americanized assessment. This is something that has been taken by billions of people around the globe. Clifton, the gentleman that created Strengths, stated that we as a society, as a human race, again, not just American, but we as a human race, regardless of our race, gender, whatever you want to talk about, all of those differences, but we as a human race fall into 34 talents. And that first word on the screen is 34 talents. And I tend to use the word strength, which is at the bottom, just because it sounds better and it makes more sense. But the ones you have been given back, your top five, are the ones that you do the most on a daily basis. And you do them so naturally, you feel like you're breathing, right? You don't even know that you're doing them. Now, one thing I am going to say with you all being graduate students is that I hope you all are like, oh yeah, this is exactly me. You have gone through undergraduate, you have done that growth, you've gained that information, as opposed to maybe freshmen who are starting to go through that. So my hope is that you're like, yeah, absolutely. So your top five that we've given you are the ones that you do without even trying, you do without even knowing that you're doing them. If we were together, we would talk as a group about our top strengths. And I'm hoping actually that you all, where you're at, can talk about your strengths, or at least maybe in a discussion board, however you have these conversations, because it's really valuable to hear other people's top strengths, because I want you to hear them and I want you to be respectful enough to know that they now approach situations differently than you. Yes, you're all in the same program and you're probably very much like-minded, but you all are very different. And I'm actually skipping around slides here because I've said different. The best part of strengths, or Clifton Strengths, is that it has been taken by so many people that there is a 1 in 275,000 chance of meeting someone in the same with the top five as you. Even crazier, there's a 1 in 33 million chance of meeting someone with the same top five, but in the exact same order. We have seen this a lot of times in FYS classes where there could be twins or triplets. Same DNA, same birth parents, same growth, nature versus nurture. They've grown up together. And they may have had one or two of the same, but the rest, the 3 or 4, are completely different. And I love working when there's two twins in the room because they love to throw each under the bus and tell stories about that. They're like, oh yeah, that's her, or oh yeah, that's him. So that idea that you are very unique is very true with strengths. So as you get to converse with your classmates, again, I want you to know how unique you are and what you bring to the table. Also in that conversation, you may be listening to someone else's or reading about someone else's, and you might say, wow, I'm really weak in that area. That's a weakness. And this is what Clifton wants you to change. I don't want you to frame your thinking around your top 5 are your strengths, so therefore the rest of them are weaknesses. No, they're not weaknesses at all. They are ones that you just have to work a little bit harder to use. And I'm going to do this as a little bit of an example. So grab something to write with, pencil, pen, whatever it is, and, grab a blank piece of paper and put your writing utensil in your dominant hand. And I want you to sign your name. Go ahead. Take a second or two, sign your name, feel the ease. You have that muscle memory from writing your name year after year after year. Yes, as a child, you did have to learn how to do that, but now it is just that easy that you can do it without even thinking about it, right? In terms of strengths, these would be your top 5. You can do them very easily. So let's kind of move down a little bit out of your top 5. And I want you to put your writing utensil in the opposite non-dominant hand. And I want you to sign your name. As you're signing your name, you might be having to think about it a little bit more, put a little more concentration, a little more effort to it. It's okay if you want to laugh about it, that's fine. But that represents some of those strengths in the top 34 that are a little bit further down. And now I want to take it even deeper down into the ones that you would probably consider weaknesses. I want you to put your writing utensil back into your dominant hand, and I want you to close your eyes and sign your name. This is where you might be going, yikes, or it might not be that hard. If we were in a classroom, I would probably do this with you on a chalkboard or a whiteboard, just to go along with it. It's typically not as hard as the non-dominant hand, but you do have to, again, focus to know where you're at on the paper and make sure you're on the paper. All right, open your eyes, take a look at it. How did you do? Not too shabby, probably. Okay, and you know where this is going. Non-dominant hand, close your eyes and sign your name. You go ahead, you can put your pen on the paper before you close your eyes so you know you're writing on paper. Go ahead, take some time to do that. This is where, again, if we were in a classroom setting, I would probably start to hear some groans and some moans and some giggles and some laughs at each other. And hey, look at this. It's typically pretty bad, and that's okay. These are your bottom 34, right? Your 30 through 34th. And again, you can do it. It just takes some work. It takes some effort. It takes some time. So again, I don't want you to approach these as weaknesses. I want you to approach the ones that are not in your top 5 as traits that you just have to work a little bit harder. Now, because so many people around the globe have taken this assessment, I do have some good statistics. There's high reliability and high validity of this assessment. So people who work in their strength zone look forward to going to work on a regular basis, have more positive than negative interactions on a daily basis with their coworkers, are just more creative. They have the opportunity to stretch their mind a little bit, go past what they normally can do on a daily basis. And frankly, they just achieve more. I know that if I was put into a cubicle and told, here's some data, work on it, I would know how to do it. I would be able to do it, but man, am I not going to have a good time doing it. I'll get it all done, but it's not like I'm going to work hard on it. I'm going to finish it. So making sure that you work within your strengths. And again, being career development center, there's some statistics out there. So people who focus on using their strengths in their life are 3 times as likely to report excellent quality of life, both at work and outside of work, and are 6 times as likely to be engaged in their jobs. I don't want anyone to ever feel that they are not engaged in their career, especially with you all going for this at your master's level. You need to be invested in it because you have invested a lot of time and a lot of money. So thinking about that job, thinking about that career in terms of are we using it, using our strengths along the way. So this would be at the point in the game where we would stop, I would stop talking and we would go around the room and share our top. I know this is a pair and share, and sometimes if we have time, we would pair up and talk about them. But I do want to say that however you get a chance to interact with your peers in this class, I do want you to be able to share those top 5. It's important to hear that, especially if you're going to be doing any group work. Kind of moving on again in the way of career, I wanted to show you this slide in terms of there are companies and organizations out there who have really, really drank the Kool-Aid, per se, of StrengthsFinder, and use this assessment for hiring. They use it for team building. They use it in their everyday life. It might be on your business card. It might be outside your office door. They want everyone to know. So Clifton has broken down each strength into these domains. And as companies are building their teams or looking for that next new hire, they're looking to fill in these areas. So the best example of this I can give you is my last position as at Cedar Crest College as a director of career. I was an office of one. It was just me. And I fall into those middle 2 categories of influencing and relationship building. I've got that. I love it. I loved working with my students, and I still do today too. I love being able to have the time to communicate with students. I have that time to be able to connect with them, to know that I'm a valuable resource, that I'm a reliable resource. However, I had some new executives come in and kind of change the path of the office for me, and wanted me to do the exterior ones of executing and strategic thinking. And that is not where my strengths lie. After a couple months and a couple, maybe 1 or 2 years of it, I was really starting to feel the pressure and not enjoying the job so much anymore because I was asked to do a lot of the analytical things, a lot of the, that ideation of moving forward and the strategic planning of long range planning, and that just was not me at all. I wanted to meet with students. I wanted to work with my students. So when I was told that I was too student centered, I saw the writing on the wall and I knew it was time to find a new job. So coming here to Kutztown, transferring into this office, I'm allowed to be in the middle, right? I'm allowed to hold those 2 categories because I have colleagues who fill in executing and who are wonderful at doing executing and strategic thinking. So again, companies and organizations may use this as their opportunity to hire a good, balanced, well-rounded team. So yeah, just be ready for that as you walk into the work world. Now, the one thing that we cannot do, again, because I'm not coming into the class, is I just want to tell you about one of these, the ending activity where we will have students take building a structure out of just masking tape and some recycled paper. So I break them up into a couple teams. They have 5 minutes to talk about their design, and then they have about 10 or 15 minutes to actually construct, and they have to work in a team setting. And it's always lovely to watch each team interact and also to see where there could be challenges and see where there could be the differing of opinions, all of those things. So we do that as an ending activity. And then obviously the team that's tallest and frankly still standing, wins. So it's a good time by all, and there's some great competition. But obviously we're not doing that today. So that's a great opportunity if you ever get to do that as a team. The one thing I will say is the more you know each other, like when we do this as a team here in our office, man, does the trash talk happen. We are very competitive with one another. But with the incoming freshmen during FYS, they're much quieter at it. And they don't trash talk as much as we do. So with that being said, the last thing I'm going to show you is that the goal setting, right? The goal piece, you know your strengths, hold on to them, claim them, and then aim your life using them. Those are just some of the silly terminology that they had done. So I want to make sure that after you've done this, there's tons of research out there about Clifton Strengths. You could go on and do your dissertation for it, I'm sure. But I wanted to give you that quick intro. If you have any questions about it, please let me know. But I think you and your class are going to be discussing it. My email address is henry@kutztown.edu. And it was a great meeting with you all today. Have a great afternoon.